people cut through their neighborhood, I think. But nonetheless, the staff was blindsided too. They didn't expect people to be so against this great project. But they proceeded anyway, knowing that you really need it. And then late last year, the design went again to the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee to get their input. And we suggested, Safe Mountain View went and we gave a presentation about how, rather than buffered bike lanes, which is just some things on the ground, how are protected bike lanes, which is, later you can look at our demonstration pictures over there, protected bike lanes. It's where there's some sort of separation between the cars and the bikes. Either there's planter boxes, such as these, between the bikes and cars, or it can be elevated, like to the sidewalk level or in between. Oh, thank you, John.
I thought this was part of the new decor of the house. Yeah, no, it's
So these are some great examples of the protected bike lanes. Here you've got some planters and it's elevated above the street. Here there's bollards. This is, if there weren't these posts, this would be a buffer. Actually, and it's also got parking here. So that's another great way to put parking in between the cars and bikes. This one again is elevated. This one is actually down the middle of the road, which we are particularly fond of. So those are some.
Yeah, so lots of choices.
Yeah, lots of. And this is sort of the iconic one that I have for this campaign. It's the cycle track and then green space.
Why do you like the one down the middle? To me, that seems like it'd be kind of dangerous.
Well, it depends on the road. I really like this type of design, especially if there's something dangerous happening on the sides of the roads, like on ramps and off ramps.
I think the thing to really realize is that when we talk about protected bike lanes here, is that Ishere's showing is that there's lots of choices to fit with the specific needs of the area.
So then in front of Grant, it's still getting narrower, right?
See it.
So then in front of Grant, it's still getting narrower because now, it's still going to go from 4 down, right? If you did this. So you have like the neighborhood look like this for the neighbor now.
They probably wouldn't, and that's kind of why so my whole goal today is gather support for people who like the idea of reducing the lanes of traffic. So that when they come out en masse, we can also come out en masse, which will support the council members in making their decision. Because if all that they hear from are the people who don't want it to happen, they're representatives of the city. They might say maybe it's not your project. Maybe you could talk to that a little bit more.
Typically what they've seen when they do traffic calming like that is a lot of times the traffic goes pretty much the same because you end up you don't have cars going between lanes, you just have a smoother flow of traffic. How it would actually be in the specific one, I don't know, but sometimes it doesn't really slow traffic down. That seems to always be the fear.
The thing to realize with Castro is that Castro through downtown used to be 2 lanes each direction. Remember they did what they did in downtown. The downtown was a greater volume than that short little section from Grant. So Castro through downtown is 1 lane each direction.
Can I have a perspective as well? So I think when the city initially did a study that looked at traffic counts, and the traffic traveling that road is nowhere near what you could easily do that with 2 lanes, but then it used to be 4 lanes. And I think also there's a local neighborhood there. We've had people come out to BPAC who are really supportive of it. So it's super exciting because when you hear it, somebody lives in that area, you're like, oh. And they really like the idea because it's less traffic. Nobody likes that drop-off craziness. And I think that I wasn't at that council meeting where the neighborhood came out, but there was a lot of energy around trying to stop the development on the corner.
Yeah, a lot of it was the bigger one.
Yeah, and I think this was a kind of good soundbite from the.
Yeah, but didn't that already happen? Like the multi-story.
Yeah, it's going to
Yeah, so it's going up your way.
That is, right. But the road that is still in the process.
How many more things are they adding to that corner? Because now you've got that big development there, right? And then people are going to need to get in and out of it, right? So
it's actually tiny numbers compared to the amount of traffic that schools do. Schools, you can have 4 trips for a drop-off, in and out, pick up
And if they can bike, then that's less.
It's 2 o'clock.
The accidents the accidents in front of Graham were during the, like, pickup. So, and they were like parents involved that were involved as well. So it wasn't your random cut through driver that's trying to get up to, Naramati. It was school traffic. Yeah. So,
And the school traffic is also less respectful of bicycles and pedestrians, I think, because a lot of times you're just trying to get there before you get tardy. And so, even when people are driving, although they have their own kid and they know that the people who are walking and biking are their kids' classmates, at that point it's a sort of tunnel vision. It's like, I have 5 minutes before I have to drop off.
Did they cone off like for a month and try it to see and then just keep moving the cones around until they get the optimum way to do it instead of putting all the stuff in and then crap, you didn't solve the problem. Just keep let's try it this way, let's try it that way until you get something that works because you still gotta get parents in, you still gotta get bikes in. You want it to be better at the end, not just different.
That's actually a really good idea. And here's the funny thing is that down at Lincoln Boulevard, Lincoln Avenue and Willow Glen, it's a little shopping area there. The city council member who handles that area said, rather than do a study, why don't we do exactly what we were talking about? Because it would end up being a quarter of the price. So we'll just put, barriers up and see what works and let people experience it. So rather than having people come up and complain about something they haven't seen yet, they can see what the result is.
Well, and we've done that. I mean, we did that on Clark, where they put in a new light. And so what we do is we get, instead of pour a lot of concrete and rip stuff up, they get like rubber bumpers and stuff like that, and they put those down and repaint them. We did that over on Colorado and Mercy and try it out. And so, my recollection is that when they do need to go through some study, because there's federal and state grants, I think, involved in this. But I think the first thing may actually be then sort of a demonstration project.
I think we were thinking about the pilot project because it's always easy to do a pilot project. I was listening to some conference or another. Main advice was do pilots because you can always reassure people and say, it's a pilot. If it doesn't work, we haven't spent a lot of money. We'll take it apart. This is grant money, so probably there's a certain amount of studying that needs to be done. But the bottom line is whenever you suggest doing anything with traffic, people are going to go out of their minds with worry, angry. Another thing, don't use the word road diet.
Sorry,
that's actually great that you mentioned that. What would you suggest instead?
Protected bike lanes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I was listening actually in Seattle, I think they said that you don't say bikers and drivers. People on bicycles, people driving, and people walking. Because actually, exactly what you said, Gary, you may be driving, but once you're out of your car, you're actually the person who is walking, and then you're awfully upset with all the bikers.
Bikers are the spandex crowd.
So you really need to be careful about how you talk.
Thanks. So as I was mentioning, we went to the VPAC and there was 2 things we asked for. We asked for protected bike lanes rather than a busted bike lanes. We asked for this thing called a bus stop bypass, where rather than having the cycle track on the road, it actually wraps behind the bus stop. So then you don't have kids and buses playing leapfrog in the road. And then we also asked for a protected intersection, which would create a safety island for kids and anyone to where the cars go around the bike lane rather than having a disappearing bike lane before you see it.
The idea behind that is to avoid right hooks. I don't know if people are familiar with right hooks. It's like when you're riding along and then the bike lane becomes a dotted lane, right? And then cars are supposed to, in the dotted area, merge behind bicycles that are in the bike lane, like they would behind any other vehicle, and then make a turn. What they do actually is that they speed ahead of you and then cut right in front of you. And it is really tricky because as far as you're concerned, you have a green light and you're going straight ahead. I mean, there's really, you know, and if you're more paranoid, you'll be like, oh, I can see that turn signal is on, so I should kind of hold back and allow them to make the turn. But the kids are not always going to be that good about that. And so if you actually make it so it's a more sharp turn, where you know you're turning, and then you actually look before you turn.
And part of the design that was brought to BPAC was this thing which I call a cycle sandwich, which is where, you know, you switch places with the car and then you have a bike lane that's in between the turn lane and the straight going traffic. I call that a cycle sandwich because you could be potentially squished between two cars. I hate those.
So an example of that is on California at San Antonio, for example.
Yes.
If you want to actually check that out. So when you go in California and then you can make a right turn onto San Antonio, so the cars go off this way, and then the bikes have to kind of merge to the middle, to the side of the cars. It is very
It's
easy.
a great place to fight with your kids.
I mean, we did it.
They get to be the peanut butter and the bread.
But the thing is, if you make it past that, then it's really easy to get over to Palo Alto, and it's like all nice and the
Yeah, but you know what happens to peanut butter? It gets squished and spread.
And so the good news is that BPAC really supported our ideas, and as far as you know, the designers are actually incorporating the ideas into the plan for the road. So Mountain View listens, which is great. And so let me tell you kind of what's happening next with the project. So I just spoke to someone in the city planning division yesterday. I thought it was going to be coming to council for approval either this month or in March, but it turns out it's probably going to be April, May timeframe. Or maybe the next year, depending on some approval they're waiting for funding from Caltrains, which I'm not sure what that's about exactly. And when it comes to approval, so the thing that I'm most afraid about is that all these people from that neighborhood are going to swarm out again and say, no road diet, don't take our street away. And so...
No protected bike lane.
Oh, if they're safe, yeah, they're exactly. And so I really feel like what happens to this stretch of road is really up to all of us. And so in 2015, I say, let's make history. Let's show the city council that if there's not only a part of Mountain View that is against it, there's also huge support for this project. And not only do we want the road diet, we want something better. We want protected bike lanes. So we'll switch to that terminology from now on.
And you can use traffic calming if you're talking about the road diet without whether it has effect on it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a longer term.
Yeah. Nobody likes speeding traffic. Everybody likes calm.
Yeah,
Except for when we're part of the speeding traffic.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
What do you mean I'm going to be 1 minute late to work?
So I actually have a question. So I remember reading that, maybe I'm not remembering exactly, that there's actually an issue with the speed limit, that the speed limit can be reduced below a certain level because of the fact that there's 4 lanes there. Is that correct?
Correct. There's a separate,
So
you
here's-
get school speed limits. And
Yes.
certain streets, certain schools get it.
But okay, so yeah, here's the
So if it did become 2 lanes, would it qualify?
yes.
Possibly have to find it.
Okay, so the rule, what Darren is asking about is this, is that California recently passed a law that allowed cities to lower the speed limit in front of schools provided it's a single lane each direction, and that the speed limit on either side of the 50 mile an hour zone was no greater than 30 miles an hour. So you couldn't take it from 45 to 50 great speed traffic. Okay. And it could be a 4-lane right road. So the effect of creating protected bike lanes is that it also offsets the possibility of 15 mile an hour zone.
Don't bring that up.
Yeah.
That would be a second project. First, let's get a first name.
I don't know if I want to do it at 50 miles an hour, honestly. Like, I have to get through that intersection in the car on a regular basis. It would suck if it was 50 miles an hour.
When children
Just
are
when kids are.
The school can even so, I mean, even slowing down to get over El Monte, right in front of, I think it's Almond School at 25 is really hard to do because it's super wide and everybody's trying to get up to the freeway. Going down Miramonte at 15 just sounds like hell.
It's not marijuana, it's the Cratsboro loop from El
It's about
Camino
Joyce.
over to Marijuana.
I forgot to mention that.
It's just too, it's Jesus.
Right, it's just the piece that goes up across through
It just
Grant.
sounds like you would always have the traffic up there when you do use it.
But that's not the point. I mean, the point is not about enforcement. The point is that this is a slow zone. And it's also a school zone. So it's like, if you're not going to work during school hours, don't go that way. Drive over to El Monte or Miramonte.
It's almost like treating, there's kids
Yeah,
there,
right.
you don't want people sitting through there.
Right. But I think Ronique was going to say that also the council did adopt the
15 miles per hour in front of schools, but at
where
this
it can
point,
be
it
installed.
can't be done in Castro in front of Grant. But once we have protected bike lanes and the street becomes narrower as far as vehicular traffic happens, there's no reason why it couldn't be 50 miles per hour. And I mean, it's a very narrow, it's not a long stretch of road. And eventually we have to prioritize what's more important.
I also think there's a real win-win because we're in this vicious circle where people don't think it's safe, so they drive the kids, so there's more traffic, so it's less safe. If you can get everyone in the other direction, people can be amazed how easy those roads are with less cars.
Yeah, on the occasions where I have to drive my kids to school over at Huff, I would be happy if I could go 15. Because at those times, traffic's not moving that fast.
So if I can give you a little bit, and many of you may already know this, and if you don't want to, sure don't. But it's just sort of some of the political reality. So, this came up at a time when this new development was, being proposed, the new apartment complex there. And the people that live sort of behind there are concerned that all of the traffic that's going to come from, 160 apartment units, all of the traffic that's going to come from 160 units, which isn't going to be that much, is now going to have to cut through their neighborhood to get to El Monte because they're not going to want to drive up Castro to Miramonte because there may only be one lane in one direction. The real reality is so what? We're not even going to notice, that those 160 cars, in the morning. But there is a group of neighbors that live over there that are quite concerned. My reaction always is, and after Monique's 8 years on the council, my 15 years on the council, is it's never as bad as people think it's going to be. It just isn't. Everybody goes to the worst case scenario when they think about these things. But the fact is, people will come out and say, cars rule, this is a street, and we should do that. And the council shouldn't do this. But the other thing is we've got 3 new members of the council, and I think on bike and pedestrian safety, they are going to be very consistent with the former members, with you, Jack, and Margaret, and are going to be, my guess would be, very supportive of this. Lenny Siegel is a big bike rider. Ken drives a really nice, BMW. And Cat probably drives a Volvo like I do. So, but I think the new members of the council will be supportive. You can never tell about John Inks because he's a libertarian. He doesn't think there should be regulations. So that's, don't worry about him. I think Chris Clark is going to be supportive. John McAllister, the mayor.
Did not use the word wrong, but I.
Yeah, don't use the word wrong. It's about protecting the kids. But John is really getting into being a leader. And so I think there's an opportunity, for sort of politically, for him to be like, he's not going to vote against something where there's, I think, a big majority. But, I really do think, and I think And I don't remember where staff is coming, if they're gonna be coming and saying, okay, let's do a pilot initially before we spend a lot of money, maybe tear up medians and stuff, because that does start getting expensive.
I think it's 90% of it's BTA money.
Yeah, and the verbs,
And it's time.
yeah. So I actually don't know, I think Tuesday night, actually, there is something about the bike and
It's the
pedestrian
plan.
plan. I think it's a study session on that. So, but it's what's really helpful, and I think Cherie knows this, is individuals making individual appointments with members of the council, offering to walk them or ride a bike over there with them and sort of give them a tour, sit down and just have a good one-on-one conversation with them over coffee at Starbucks or at Red Rock or at Pete's, and talk about it, where you can have a real discussion. Because, as you know, coming and caring passionately at us during the hearing, you know, when you get your 2 minutes or your 3 minutes, depending on how many people there are, it's not really effective advocacy. It really isn't. Because there's no discussion, it's just a bunch of people caring passionately is code for yelling at us. So, and we're going to hear both sides yelling at us. So, meeting with people out in the front and close the deal. If you what you say, do we have your support? Now, most council members, well, you know, I'm not going to commit till I have public input. But unless I hear anything to the contrary, I'm very supportive of this. Try and get people to commit to you that they're supported in theory, but they have to stay open-minded. You know, that's how sort of people get around and saying, I'm open and objective until, you know, it's time to make a decision. But you kind of got to close the deal if you can. You know, and they'll say, you know, I can't support. And then you can say, well, why not? And that's when you can get into the discussion. So, well, what would it take to get you? So.
Do you think it's useful to bring up the experiences from what is already from fights that have been resolved one way or the other? So, for example, there was the huge fight about the Madeira complex and parking. And you know, there was an online revolt about it and so on and so forth. But then the parking study done after it was built showed that the garage was only 75%.
There are still people that think that we faked the moon landing, and some of them live on that. So, yeah, there are people who don't believe that study. So,
what really hurts is, so meeting with council members is a great idea, but the scenario is might, well, nobody's ever got me to say this committed to anything. But sharing information, the problem with the 3 minutes is, for some of us introverts, 3 minutes is not enough time to think it through, analyze it, and come up with a position. So it's really critical to send in information, and Cherie's been very good organizing people to come to council, you know, on non-agenda items and start doing education. It doesn't work on everyone, it worked beautifully on me, although it really start.
all that wasted effort.
Studies in Mountain View, I don't think we're going to get to anywhere, but examples of, look, in this city it works, this is what it looks like, this is what the numbers are there. For me, that worked really well on me. Just the information that people are doing this, that people are still driving cars there, but they're also walking if they want to walk, and biking if they want to bike. So I think.
Could I ask a question for you? Since you're one of the things that Anna, who couldn't be here, and Cherie did spend a lot of time on was the graphics. How important was that for your understanding?
I think her little pillars were great. Okay, because you know some of us read about it on our own, and some of us don't, and so you hear road diet and it sounds like we were on the car. If you have pictures of where it works and videos of like a mock-up of the situation, I think that's really helpful. Just quickly, because I'm not only about walking, also about trees, don't take out medians, don't take out trees, don't do anything to get more people upset.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that planning a safe drop off at ground, I drove my kids to ground, which is unbelievable, but they did. I mean, it's crazy there. So, there we go. And when you drive, you don't actually know how close places are. You know, you get into your car and you drive and you end up and there you are, and then you walk and you say, my God, this is nothing. Why am I driving? So don't make enemies if you don't have to make, and don't take out trees if you don't have to take out trees. Don't even suggest it. Staff will have to figure out, with your help with examples, how to access ground safely, because people will still continue driving.
Was there something that you wanted to say, Shikani?
No, that was my question was it useful to give examples from within mountain view about Madeira and so on? But
Yeah, no, I think like the drawings that like this one that really shows the protected bike lane, you know, sort of like how it really looks, which is going to be different if they do a pilot study with just the rubber bumpers. It won't look like that, but you know, really good infrastructure. Now, the one thing is even that picture that will bring out the pedestrians, and this was one of the problems we've been having with some of the BRT system, where they want to have, you know, bump out loading platforms, and they have the bike lanes.
Can you explain to what BRT is?
Oh, the bus rapid transit that the VTA is talking about. But what their idea is, rather than having buses pull in and pull out of traffic, they stop, but the boarding platform sticks out more into the street, and then the bike lane would have to go sort of through it. And then people say, well, now you're putting pedestrians in the way of people on bicycles, and you're creating a conflict. And this clearly demonstrates that. So you now are getting pedestrians out there saying, see, not only are you taking out cars, but you're putting bikes in conflict with pedestrians. And what about the poor blind guy that's walking across there and doesn't see the bike? I mean, that's the story that we will be told.
And you do have to think about it.
Right.
Because pedestrians, there will be pedestrians, there's lots of kids who take the bus to ground.
There's lots of people doing this.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you talk about bikes, you have to think about pedestrians also. And there is a woman with of visual disability who lives right in that neighborhood, and she goes to every council meeting. So,
would it help to actually add trees? So, because one of the ways of making protected bike lanes is to have contours like this, and you could actually have like, you know, greenery and things in the contours. So, would that be worthwhile bringing up? Like, would it help both support, or you think that
it's probably, I mean, I would love it. Course, but the community raises the question, who's going to pay for me up here? So at this point, I would be completely comfortable saying that the city has the money, so I don't even know where we
And I don't know where the really important thing is, as you're like trying to reach out to members of the council, is talk to, you know, the public works staff and try and get an idea. Because remember, the council doesn't see anything until the Thursday before the meeting. So a report may be available a month before, but we don't see it. You probably see it. You know, advocates can get that information. You can talk to, who is it, who's doing bikes these days? It's Helen and
Linda.
And Linda. You know, ask, you know, what's staff's recommendation going to be on this? Can we have a draft, or can we have some of the diagrams that you're going to use? So they may not want to give you a draft report, but if they've had an outside study, you might be able to get a copy of that. Or you'll probably, at least sometimes you can get it, you'll certainly be able to get it before we see it, usually. And that way, then you can tell us. So you don't want to go in and sort of micromanaging what staff's recommendation is. What you're really trying to do, Patrick, and we were talking about this beforehand, is, you know, for as much as you want this, there are other people that don't want it as much. And if the other side of the coin is, you know, a narrow victory is still a victory, and you have to be thankful for what you got, as opposed to you only gave us 70%. And you know, there are people that do that. And it's like, well, geez, you know, I just went way out on a limb here, and the people that ought to be thankful are also, you know, chopping us down because they didn't get all they wanted. And that kind of happens. And we do have 3 new people that aren't used to the political process,
So, just very quickly, I think staff is very, very engaged in working on these safety issues. I think over the years, staff's position has changed.
Right.
I was cleaning up my inbox and I saw answers I got many years ago. I know things have changed. I think staff will be open to you showing them examples that you found really interesting. So a good relation with staff is a really good thing. They're great people, very professional. It's good to do that. They hate the idea of the immediate bike path.
Oh, they do.
They're really against that. I wouldn't even go. On the shoreline, the principles are very basic with their worries about the left turn, so I wouldn't necessarily go in that direction.
Well, it just means that we have
everything is
to
more
address it so they can make a complete decision.
This is Castro Street. We'll do what Castro Street, we'll do the shoreline later.
So, Ken, Pat, and Lenny kids, they're all, Ken's kids aren't that old, but Lenny and Pat's kids, my kids' age. The safety of children, we'll speak to them, there's no question about that. So you know, focus on that.
And they are, even though bikes and pets is no longer one of the city's goals, the council's goals, mobility is still one of the goals. And mobility still includes bike and pedestrian. And mobility is very much about not how to get more cars moving more faster. It's how to move people without cars in traffic. So, I mean, it's still there, and I really do think that a majority of this council is, you know, it's, you know, getting, you know, solving traffic, and by solving traffic is not getting cars moving faster, it's getting people out of cars, and how do we have a better transportation system, not how do we have more and faster cars, except for maybe McAllister.
It's completely approved.
Yeah.
So Mike, if I could get you to expand on that. You had mentioned that it's not that effective to have your 2 or 3 minutes in front of council. I was thinking that it would be important to do that because that way it gives you guys cover. You can say, well, yes, we had 5 people coming out saying this is important, even if you've had to do the education ahead of time. And so would that be?
So, again, I don't know if Rooney ever really commented on this. My perspective on public input is that, you know, the council kind of knows what we're going to hear. We're going to hear a lot of people tell us a lot of reasons why, and a lot of people are going to tell us reasons why not. And we probably know most of those reasons. But you do want to have people there that show support, but you don't want everybody to say the same thing. The best way to organize it is, even if you have, if you get 100 people there, well, that's great. But I think you are best off to say, we're going to have 3 speakers or 4 speakers. We're going to ask you to stand up or hold your hand up, but do not speak. Do not get up in line and say, well, I wasn't going to speak, but I felt I had to. Because the council wants to be able to discuss, and we pretty much know the issues. And, you know, if we have an hour of public testimony and there's nothing really new, it doesn't help you. And the more organized you are with the 3 or 4 big points that you need to make, especially if you've done all the advanced work, is far more effective. So yeah, you want to have people there, but you don't want to have 100 people get up and talk. especially if there's only 5 on the other side. And we all know already who those 5 people are. So, and everybody else is just going to get up and say, ours are king. So, and that's not going to play for the council. So, I don't know if you have a different take.
No, just to just amplify a little. I think what Mike was saying is you need to do preparatory work, you need to meet with council, you need to meet with staff, you need to send in information. That you need to do. But then you do need to show up. It's critical to show up at council, because periodically, when I was in council, I found myself as the only person advocating for something, when I know that there's lots of people, but it's like, Juanita's on the right. So you do need people there. You don't need 100 people. You've done a really good job of kind of having 3, 4 people maybe putting a story together, and each one of you gives a piece of it, and it tells a complete story. Sometimes council shows up not having made up. And if you have 20 people really angry, it makes it maybe more difficult to make a decision. So you need the preparatory work, you need people showing up, you don't need 100 people. Tell a story, and then, who agrees with me? And then you can have the group of people showing that there is a serious group that's concerned about this.
And the other thing, even though I said the 3 minutes, sometimes, and it's always possible to ask the mayor, there's 4 of us that are going to speak for 100 people. Can we have 10 minutes? And just come up as a group. I'll do 3 minutes. Just come up, do your 10-minute presentation, and have it laid out. And if you know what some of the issues are going to be, if you're really flexible and are listening to the questions that the council members are asking, then you can sort of tailor your comments to respond to those questions. But hopefully, you will have heard all of the concerns that people have as you've gone around and met with them. And by the way, it's also okay to say 2 or 3 people to sit down with the various councils, like when we did that, had a whole bunch of, white people, elderly people, and stuff like that. But, so you really know what the issues are, and you can respond to them. And the other thing is, if you can make it a win-win, so, we've really looked at this, and this isn't going to cause people to drive through over onto Sonia and stuff like that, because it's going to be faster. Studies have shown that the traffic actually moves better if it's, single flow, this, that, the other thing. And this is actually better for the people on Sonia Drive and stuff like that. And really, and you got something to back that up. So it's not you versus them, it's us and them, together. And that's the song.
So I'm going to actually say that we've had a couple of people here who've been very silent, and actually listen very comfortably. Do as well. But I want to make sure that the people who haven't spoken have a chance to ask some questions too, because this is a new group for you, and you may be shy. So you may be an introvert, like me.
I am not at all shy. I've been learning a whole lot here, so I'm more in the listening mode at this point.
Okay.
I'm definitely an introvert.
So we have to pull you out, maybe put you in the center.
I think this is really, the whole discussion is interesting to me. I don't see a lot of what goes on, how hard this is to kind of pull something like this off. My biggest concern, I think, we do a lot more walking than biking because biking is a little more iffy. And even as a pedestrian, I see it's not particularly safe in some areas. So obviously, a lot of things need to change for that to happen. This is, certainly a good place to start.
Yeah, and now's your chance to ask Mike and Renee some questions too. And we also have, what was your name again?
Gina.
Gina and Jackie. Yeah. Okay. Both of you two should also speak up too. I'm very quiet. I'm really learning a lot. But I want to make sure that you're involved.
Gina's got to find it. Actually, I have a question for Shelby.
Yeah.
Which is, you seem like you've been very focused on sort of general community involvement, but it seems like grandparents specifically would be the biggest constituents that would care about this.
Yeah.
And, I guess what have you thought about doing as far as trying to really get parents from that specific community
Yeah, that's a great question, thanks. I actually was hoping that there would be a lot of people here today, so I'm glad to have at least a few.
Jim arranged letter writing, so I know that there were
Oh, great.
50 letters, 60 letters. Good to see.
But be aware, some of the grandparents are going to be driving parents.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's the thing where somebody was talking about is, some people said, I'm not going to let my kids walk or bike, and I'm going to drive them, and I need to get in and out because I need to get to work. And so that is, you'd think that kids' safety would be the common denominator. Sometimes it's not. And that's sort of the hard thing. And so
I think to your earlier point, though, you just need to make sure that you address those issues and say, if we do this, there's going to be less cars competing with you, so you'll actually be able to get in and out faster.
Right.
So if we can get more people cycling, if we can get more people walking because they feel that it's safe, cars will actually benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the Grand pickup scene like? Because I used to bike down Almond, and it was insane. Like, I was biking down, and I actually thought I had to stop because all these cars were stopped in the middle of the street, and I was like, well, maybe traffic's just blocked up. And then the first time, and then I passed them, and I realized, no, they're all waiting to pull in one by one. And so after that, I just passed them. But it was this giant line. I could easily imagine, like, 20 minutes in line to get in there to pick up your kids. And what is it like at Grand?
Yeah, I can speak to that. It's not so bad. I have had to pick them up a few times at normal school pickup hours, and because there are 2 parking lots and they have cars like a few deep, it never goes out onto the street that I've seen. I mean, I usually get
in the morning, the traffic that's coming from up Camino is trying to make a left turn, and there's cars that are coming the other direction from Castro. There's often a long backup of cars trying to make a left turn. And the fact that there's 2 lanes of cars that are coming towards El Camino makes it, there's a lot of cars that are turning into the school, but there may also be cars that are traveling towards El Camino. So I think if there was some more of a controlled way to have the traffic flow into the school from that direction, whether it's from El Camino, then that would actually make it so that the cars could get in much.
Yeah, that's not because Castro's backed up, right? That's because of the light on El Camino. Is that correct?
No. So you're driving down Castro, you cross El Camino. Just as the road starts to bend and turn towards El Monte, that is where the entrance, people make a left to enter the school.
Right, there's a turn lane. I think, isn't there? Okay.
But there's often, I don't do it often because usually it's at night, but when I have driven, I've seen hand between cars.
Right, trying to turn it off so you can see traffic.
Maybe then if there's only one lane, it's actually easier to make that turn.
Well, if there was maybe 2 lanes coming in so that there was a dedicated lane going into the school, like basically 2 lanes coming in, one of those lanes ended at the entrance into the school, then it would be clear as cars were coming what they were going to do. Because you see the traffic coming, you don't know if it's going to turn into the school or not. So cars have to yield to really no traffic. But yeah, that's the whole difference.
And that is, that does point up the other point of people are going to be driving to the school, and staff and the school have to figure out how to manage that traffic as well as make it a safe environment for people to walk and bike to school. And they've got to clear the cars, they've got to, whether they put in a signal or somehow control it, or have a crossing guard, or police officer, or whatever. It's like stopping traffic so that people turning left can get in, or say, no left turn. You got to drive around and come in from the south.
Actually, what would be great is a way to drop your students off on the other
side of the street, so they can walk across.
I tried to do that with my son, and I realized there's no way for him to cross. He has to walk all the way down the monkey or all the way down quite a ways to get to the crosswalk.
Yeah.
So if there was a way that the cars could just drop off on the wrong side of the street, but have a light or something so kids could cross, it's all that.
It'd be interesting to have a survey to find out how many people like their kids to bike if they could. Because I think the problem I see is, like you mentioned, there's almost a cascading problem because people don't feel safe letting their kids bike. There's more congestion. And I see the problem more inside the Grand itself. Because a lot of times there's so many cars trying to quickly get in and out because you have a short window to do that. And there's kids darting across the cars. Sometimes I'm afraid I'm going to hit them, even though there's teachers there trying to negotiate that. It's like, one thing leads to another. It's just too much car congestion overall.
The bottom line really is just getting the protected bike lanes up is just a small part of the solution, unfortunately, because even if you have a protected bike lane on the right side of the road, you have to get the kids across the road. And so I'm assuming that what staff will be proposing is a solution that has the kids crossing the ground, the cars getting in and out of the ground in a safe way, that will be driving. And I mean, there is no easy solution. It's not just about the bike.
One last comment, then I'd like to actually wrap it up pretty quickly.
I have a question. So when you say traffic study, what kind of information do you get from that? Like, is there a traffic flow pattern study, or do they have a time lapse of actual what happens? You know what I mean? Like, now all this stuff is really easy to do, but we're all kind of guessing at what the flow actually is. So has anybody actually looked at the flow?
There is a traffic study for the development itself, so they will have studied that whole block. And I don't know.
They do traffic counts and that sort of thing. So I mean, there are firms that all they do is analyze traffic and.
And the truth is that just believe
right.
A traffic study, and I have spent many years not really believing traffic studies, so. You know, if you want to believe it, you believe it.
She's a science touter.
I took graduate level statistics class, and I'm not interested. The safest thing to say is to say it's a pilot study, and put some things in place, and try it, and have the parents and the school and the people who drive there and the neighbors keeping their eye on it and trying to go for the solution. Because there is no perfect solution. I spent years planning this, trying to calm down people coming in and out of the plan.
I think with a pilot, it does have to be long enough to let behaviors develop as well.
Pilots
It takes a while.
usually
We usually do them for a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it I don't know. So
I mean, it's sort of
been.
it's sort of been out of sight.
Why I know is the designs coming back probably April to be back to council in May, and they're expecting to break ground at the end of the year.
I thought they should have broken ground last year.
Well, I mean, one thing is that funding has got a time, so eventually it will get taken away, but then do
But the
something.
funding also came in later than set.
Oh,
That was the reason it got deferred, was because the money didn't show up.
So we have a new person who joined.
So just tell your name while you're here, and then we're actually going to wrap up the meeting in a couple of
Right.
minutes.
That's okay. I'm Deb. I live in the neighborhood on the other side of Shoreline, and I'm here because eventually my daughter is going to go to school, but she took forever to go down for a nap, so I can come to the very end or not come. I figured I RSVP'd that should show up. So thanks. Anyway, neighborhood parents.
So it's definitely a long ways then. She's still going down for naps in the afternoon.
It's a long way off, but judging by past references for the end, I might can comment on, it takes a while to actually get stuff built. So I might as well start now. So she's going to deal with Landell's traffic calming first, and then she'll deal with Graham.
Patrick, do you just have something short to say?
Yeah, a couple of things I'd like to just wrap up the discussion. Is one of the things that some of the things that we're talking about is what can we do, how can we interact with City Council. One of the things I think it's really important to recognize is that how empowered we are as a group in a couple of key ways. Probably the biggest one that you're probably not aware of at all is that a lot of city staff actually doesn't live in the city. And they're not aware of the problems that we think must be obvious to them. And that, because they come to work and like everybody else, they spend a lot of time in front of the building, in an office. They're not coming out and seeing the problems that we're seeing as parents. That they're not seeing the congestion around school, like the flows around school. So the fact of the matter is that just by looking and observing the areas of concern about and documenting it, you are probably bringing new information to city staff that they don't know about. And you shouldn't think at all that they know about these things just because you and everybody else around you does. The second thing to really think about is when you think about getting kids through from school, is Mountain View is very, very tiny. So at the end of the day, it's super does time. And I think equivalent for my kids, my older goes to Crittenden, and biking to Crittenden, from the furthest point that goes to Crittenden takes 9 minutes. I don't know what it looks like for ground, but I dare say it's probably not much more. So even though there are these things that there's so many people biking, I don't know, 9 minutes versus 15-minute traffic congestion trying to drop off kids. Maybe there's hope there, and we should look at the possibility of things being different.
Thanks, Patrick. So I want to give Ori a couple minutes in just a minute. I wanted to thank you guys so much for giving input on how to be effective. We actually had a little section of that, but I don't think I really need to say anything. Petitions, we have a petition, and John was actually going to talk about that a little bit, how to be effective.
Well, I was thinking we could, I mean, that's very good to hear. And there's some things we have printed out over here for folks. The city has a very nice thing showing all the council members and their very nice pictures. And information about these meetings. There's a little thing that I wrote on how to speak in front of council, hopefully enough. And Michael can get, and there is a roster that has, it's an incomplete roster, some of the rosters are on the pages, but we'll tell you the email addresses for all the council members and many of the advisory committees or council advisory commissions and committees. So
What happens when you just write to city council at mountainview.org? You know what I mean? Versus when you.
We all get a copy of it, but it might show up on the dais the night of the thing. So it's, again, it's not a very effective communication. And I think the worst thing that they do is all the letters they get in a day, they make them into one PDF, they send out an email, and it says, there's these 13 letters in this PDF, you have to open it and then read through them. And some people read those religiously and other people don't read them very well.
So it's better to email individually rather than with the company?
I believe so, yes.
Another really small detail is that if you send it to the council individually, it's really easy to reply. Just do reply.
Right.
And if you get a whole list, you can just reply,
Well,
put it in yourself.
on the website, everybody has their own an email address, whether it's a city email or a non-city
You
email.
don't email everybody because it's around things.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give Ori a couple minutes. One of the ways we have, kind of back to your question, how are we going to utilize the grandparents? I would love to talk about that more. I'm a little worried about the time, but I would love some ideas if anybody has some on how we could engage them more. One thing we have done is this petition that we have on Public Square. And do you?
Yeah,
Maybe
just
it's time for you to
1 minute.
talk about
There are lots of ways that people can get involved with this issue. I think grandparents joint meetings obviously are important. And one way that Sheree and State Mountain have tried to move the issue forward is get people to support the idea on Public Square basically as an online petition. And so right now, I think there are 84 people who say that they're in support of protected bike lanes. And before it comes before City Council again, if that number grows and grows, it's not equivalent to those people being in the room, but it's better than nothing. And you're able to speak to City Council members beforehand and say, there are people who support this idea, and they may not be able to show up to the meeting if they care. You're speaking for a larger group. And in talking to council members and members of BPAC and even city staff, Randy Suda, who's the director of development, told me the other day that you've seen that the issues on Public Square have confirmed that the direction the city is moving is addressing issues in the community. That there's not this outcry of something that, wow, we're not tackling that. Which if that was the case, there would be other steps that we're going to take. But I think it's helped move the process along. It's one tool in the toolkit to address this. And so I encourage everyone who hasn't signed up for Public Square and supported it. It's right here. If you have, you can go on and share it with your friends. And particularly, maybe an easy technique with additional grants from parents there of adding their support. It's as simple as clicking a button. So.
I would also encourage all of you to sign up and register with the city's open town hall process. The city has, it's something like Public Square, but it's a city way that, where they can send out stuff and get feedback. It's got some, it will locate where it comes from. So it's like, well, geez, the only opposition is coming right from that neighborhood, whereas citywide there's a lot of support, but it's only really useful if you register for that, and that's accessible just through the city's website.
Really?
I think it's like Open Town Hall.
And so people can just post things over there and other people can reply to them? Or
Well, they usually do like specific campaigns.
Oh.
You know, they'll ask a specific question that they want feedback on or something, and then you respond to that. But, you know, they send it out, and so it's really based on how big a database they have of emails, and it's got to grow. So the real thing is you're talking around, tell people to register for Open Town Hall.
Can I ask a question?
Not that, you know.
You were saying it's more effective to talk to individual council members, but how, I mean, I assume that if we all picked the same one, that would be less effective.
That's a great point. So one thing that we've done in the past, and if anyone wants to help us with this, I would love a volunteer, is we sort of decide, we talk together and decide, we kind of divide and conquer. We say who's going to talk to which council members. And if
you'd like to be at least 2 people, so it's not like
you're,
yeah. two of us with 1 council member.
Got it.
So yeah, if you want to be involved with that, please come talk to us. That would be great. And then I think just to finalize my answer to your question, I think that Public Square would be a great way to engage the grant students, the grandparents, most of them. If you guys haven't already signed up for this, I really encourage you to. And then if you could, send it to other grandparents, and then they could find out, they could support it, so that we know more people in the community support it. But then also, once you've clicked the Me Too button to show your support, we can then notify you of, for example, when it comes to council, and then we can encourage you to come to council, wear green shirts, and then when they want to know how many people supported, everyone can raise their hand. Unless you have any other ideas of how to engage the grants.
Yeah, it might be. I would think that there's a fairly cohesive next door grouping around the grant anyways, at least doing some stuff on the next door.
Oh, yeah. We have email groups. So we have a grand chat email group, Facebook connection as well. And there's people that connect into that do some more stuff. But there's also the 5th grade student families that are going to be going to Graham. So there's groups within all the elementary schools that feed into Graham.
So PTA meetings itself, I mean, this is safety of the kids on country doing runs is pretty non-controversial. So I would think that even raising it is an issue, informational and PTA meeting might facilitate the information.
I think that's about it. I'm interested about those lists, especially the feeder schools. I've been wondering if there's such a thing. The final thing, I'm gonna just kind of switch gears completely and just close the meeting by saying that all of our food was generously donated by Greenbelt Alliance. Thanks for bringing that, Lori. And he bought it from Ava's Downtown Market, and we love them. But they're really struggling. Their freezer's broke, and it's going to take them like $30,000 to replace them. And so I have a collection jar. If you are feeling generous, any money you donate will go to them toward their freezers.
It's been broken for a while, right?
It's been broken for a while. Yeah, they're struggling, so they're having a hard time affording to do this. Yeah, really, that's a good idea. So
GoFundMe. Yeah, GoFundMe is
Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
You should suggest it to them.
Yeah.
Help yourself to more Ava's Village Smith.
And make sure you sign your list. Late arrivals, please sign those lists. We have a list of people.
Oh, yeah. Right. Oh, right.
Well, any use that story viruses. Yeah, no, it's our pleasure. Yeah, thanks for coming down.
Yeah.
My first one's like, did I tell her?
Yeah, the kids would not go to sleep. Like, I'm trying to go somewhere. Don't you understand how life besides you? No, well, she does not understand it.
How are you?
Yeah, it's like just in case.
Why not?
Some of these companies,
I'm sure there's drama. The last email from you said Christmas.
Yeah, before that was Halloween.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, before that was August.
What? Really?
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, it's been expected. We could at this point prevent.
Really?
Yeah, it's just that there's still stuff happening. Yeah, well, there's that, and then there's like, there's some computers and stuff like that. And there's like, like, this and that going on. Like, yeah, there's been a couple of options, but it's
Right, right. It's so imminent and
yes.
I don't know how it's fun.
It's awesome, you know, but they're like, exactly. Watch movies sometimes in the basement. Really?
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm curious to hear. There's like, can we really provide technology, right? Yeah. Other segments that you may have seen exactly that. And then there's user, which has this new product open town hall, and there's open plans, like a lot of people in there in the space doing different types of things. So I wouldn't be surprised if they see something similar. The big question is, who's on the schools already? A lot of people are out there. So the big reason is, to me, it's like, it's like, we really want to help, and we want to build, like, we want to be transparent, we want to be open, we want to be like, oh, you don't live here, like, you're out of the sure. There's something there, like tapping into and saying, like, we find a babysitter here. Come to our thing, this is where we improve our city. And so, there's a lot from them, and San is a lot so it's able to see a lot of information about the San Francisco students and they got March 12th or 26th or something. 26 sounds what is your background before? Software development for years basically people are
It's 3 o'clock.
And it took a 1 or 2 week period from Silicon Valley to Google, Facebook, like, you know, all these companies are how they get so that team with the success as a startup space, we're actually asked about we can't do this for government issues to do that with and so that's what it's it's a very difficult and I've actually maybe been highly enrolled because I'm still doing a lot of stuff. Fully enrolled maybe October. I think I started in San Francisco. I was aware of the space. I was working in the space for a while. It wasn't so I'm definitely interested in finding out more. You guys were going to give us some numbers. Yeah, we're excited to figure out where all the market is. It seems like there is objective problems. It's a really interesting space right now because there's a lot of cool stuff coming out of career. A couple of our advisors on the project are going fellows with their own companies. Yeah, and it's like really interesting to hear from them about like there's clearly here's the thought of the work totally getting it actually works there. Really cool. I think that's fun for me. I was actually, I just ended it yesterday and said, right, they're cool. Yeah, okay. Actually shifting, a lot of home project, so it's like, doing for lots of big science, like, you know, would you spend 10 cents or 50 bucks to come a little bit more frequently or something like that, you know? And like text your answer, and then they follow up with this question, stay tuned. I still do that. I'm more food pantry is closed today, so pretty interesting. There's a lot of unbelievable foundations. So like video and your Silicon Valley, obviously, which is like iterate cycle. And it's like there's a need for that blending exactly. There's some significant barriers of like, oh, in 5 years we can get you on the docket. Whoa. Right, because we kind of need to put something right. So I've been working with the community technology alliance to do some of the same stuff in San Jose, and we actually cover the 3 changes in this area for homeless management information systems. And there is some sort of best practices where you basically say, here are the services I'm interested in, and you get regular probably Serena talking about. Yeah, service provider. Yeah, so they have another program called Mobile for All, where they actually have people get access to the cell phones. One of the things that we're working on now is making sure that they can access to smartphones, because a lot of things are actually required access. So it's like, hey, you want to apply to work here, go to our app or go to our website. It's not probably the messaging. Right. So even for a lot of things that require notes, there's still active platform. So there really be smartphones that really consider us Thanks for coming. When you mentioned it, it was like, I hear something else not looking for. That's really fast. It's like, you know, actually, it's not much tomorrow. That's great. We can meet you in person. Like, we would. It just happened to go. My daughter is going to go to which person? Yeah. So I'd like to learn about this even if I wasn't so let's scrap but good to meet you in person. That's great. Awesome. Thank you. So we end up, you know,
right. We'll see you guys later. All right, thank you guys. And we'll see you all around. For the rest of the weekend. Thanks for the It's a relationship. All right, see you guys. Bye-bye. Holy cow, that sounds like a huge process. And she's a little like her so it's a little bit easier than I anticipated. But she basically there's an online publishing place where it's like $30, $35 to get off create a board book. And so it's a little shorter. And so she wrote the text and she did the actually found like free and the characters that can become for each. And then she's like, and the work is, I was saying, she was the word and send the same thing out or whatever. She keep on like printing on the yeah. That's not that much more than a normal book. And it's personally for you. It's a thing. It's like, shit, I'm so excited. Right.
On the environmental side, maybe that's not good.
Bicycle will be easier to ride. Like a fish. Any other? Right, all of a sudden, they're thinking that there's, a fish at hand. That's not good. Some crazy. Right, exactly. The fish biking. Right. Oh my God. That's good. Right, you got to buy new cars. It shouldn't be a bumper sticker, it should be a bike sticker. Right? It should be something you, right. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess some of those more like the thick ones. Normally, That's not great. Let's step up. What are you gonna do? It's not an eye level. John wears green shirt. You said afternoon. No. It's double green.
Establish.
And we will be stopping.
Wow.
Yeah, so I do like the idea of the second year. It's also much the amount of instead of having the second.
It's not quite an organization. We serve as pleasure camps.
Right.
And so there's this history. Well, I just know that they were, I don't know how many streets are coming back.
Yeah.
But I was it's a my friend, big pack, who's going to start
I was excited. You don't
The show needs to.
Yeah, just an accessory.
Actually wants to go.
Okay, so it's fine. How about we watch So you're saying that there was the feedback findings
Which I don't know how much of that is also nuance. Under his purview. But we had a meeting with some guys, so sometimes we're like, actually, saying that we should I see that. Go for it.
You want?
So I think that's gonna be a hard one. Official.
This is a nice car.
So only if we say that.
This is from.
Well, it's also a part of the argument with schools, right? I mean, like, to find out what are the parents that you guys are, this,
One of the things that it's not that model breaks down. As a school design staff.
yeah, my,
I'm like, financial support to fix the freezer, because of funding or. They should do that. Yeah. The other was, so for the last 6 months, I've been putting about writing my but I'm a little nervous about going over the train tracks and going, look, that bike lane is a little narrow. And the cars are across the speed, and it's in the morning speed. The other thing is, when you cross, and you go by that, there's nowhere to bike lane there. I see signs, there's no bike lane. You either bike lane, and I'm trying to figure out how to do this. The other thing would be, how do I get to work and not be able to see? It would take one day. I don't know. But I'm considering asking the good people at the end of the, so at the end of our, shopping centers fit. And I'm thinking, shower there. I could go there and shower.
It's, kind of, the secret there, there's a drawer to the left of that. Stop, Jack, come back. Yeah, there's two seats, right? That's a good idea.
Yeah. I don't know that on our just. Just like, I don't want to be an option, because I was thinking, just get out all that, especially after work. I don't see it after work, I just slow down the bike and go. I don't want to sit in my car. But just figuring out the route is a little tricky.
I'm hopeful.
So we actually had the idea last year of offering office hours for school at least, not for, I mean, maybe down, but it's students and don't have the idea of offering office hours. So I pick up and just be there, and if you want to bike, but you don't know how to do it, we'll tell you. Like, we bike pretty much all that I want to do. Have a rough idea.
You know, one option, we have enough of stuff.
Well, you have to do yourself, or you have to do myself. Oh, okay, when you do it.
So what we could do, rather than taking shoreline across up to you, we could come over here and take Escuela.
Escuela is not bad.
Which is not as bad.
So that the tendency.
And then you can turn it out. You don't have to make it, make it as all nice.
There are no stop signs, so I don't know.
And the other.
California, there's
How do you get
like boulevards, you know, it's
all kids? Yeah, I just usually.
but it's slow.
So whenever I have a choice, I mean, Fridays, like
I
yeah, but also, I mean, I'm not often writing the kids, so, okay, with kids, I really dislike
So, easy.
people that it's too late. Nathan just comes like really you try this as what happens.
So you want this?
right after.
And the problem is that it's
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
I have an option. I didn't like certain version, and you went like the same way. Of course, yeah. You don't think that it's a great suggestion for you. I'm not sure what this means. This way, it has to be here. Or you can try this. You know, the cycle is even not that great. Because this thing from part 5 that comes like this, I really use that. I mean, I have done this, but I don't know. Which is funny because it's and you can give us direct feedback. You'll be like, I buy that every day and it sucks. Or I didn't get this before and after too. I just started running it and I didn't like to. I bike every day. It's funny. Because I actually
like I'll have my favorite food, but I'll try all the foods from next time. Sometimes it gets boring when you start and if you try that and then you come back like, and then I'll actually even like think based on my mood of the day. Like when I'm without kids, especially when I stay at work, sometimes I'd be like, oh, I'm in the mood for a so kick back and ride, and so it's like, you know, I want to get there quicker. And so, you know, just with the yes. And I think we should go with it.
That makes sense.
Maybe I'll clean up a little bit.
Should I take this over? Really excited, right?
Maybe tomorrow.
By me,
Jenny, anything else?
you doing it.
Yeah, I have to pick up my kids anyways. Okay. See you guys. Nice to see you guys. Did your kids come? No. They wanted to,
Who's living in the small units? I think you're. But anything else in the units that are 1,000 square feet or smaller never have kids speaking that you have to adapt. And it's just thinking enough that people have a kid and they're moving and that. But they're fitting. And having a kid low enough to the school system, and it's not just the algorithm, right? Like how many kids per square feet of if we need it.
They are documented, so they're required. There is a. It's crazy. I guess it's good. They have
Outside kitchen, so something is.
So many things that.
So it's really required. These things back, the house is also something that.
It has to get.
Take that Second. Thank you. Thanks for hosting. Thank you so much for hosting. I'm going to leave the open ones. I'm going to take the field ones, and I'm going to leave all the pictures and stuff. Some of those. Great. Well, I did take it out. Okay. Do you want me to bring some of this up?